I fell in love with my teacher. Hi, I'm Brian, a high school student. It all started when I entered the high school. Till now, I had no girlfriends, but I was attracted to many girls. But here in high school, I found myself captivated by the intellect and charm of my English teacher, Miss Emily Thompson. Her passion for literature and her ability to ignite a spark of curiosity in her students set her apart from the rest. At first, it was her knowledge that I loved. But over time, I began to feel a deep admiration for Emily that surpassed the boundaries of typical student-teacher relationship. I began to like her, as if there was something pulling me closer to her. I wanted to be with her. I continued to excel in Emily's class. Our connection grew stronger. We engaged in intellectual discussions and shared our thoughts on literature, art, and life. Emily recognized my potential and nurtured my talents, providing me with guidance and encouragement. Meanwhile, I found myself mesmerized by Emily's radiant smile and her ability to make the classroom come alive with her enthusiasm. I was slowly falling in love with her. I wrestled with conflicting emotions, aware that my feelings for Emily were unconventional and frowned upon by societal norms. I knew she was my teacher and that we can't have a relationship ever. I understood the importance of maintaining professional boundaries and the potential consequences of acting on my emotions. Yet, I couldn't help the surge of affection that washed over me whenever I was in Emily's presence. Her simple talks made my day. I was on the moon. Keeping my feelings a secret, I found solace in my closest friend, Sarah. I told Sarah, I love Emily. I know this isn't going to work, but I can't stop loving her. I knew Sarah would listen to me without judging me. She has been with me since our kindergarten days. Sarah listened to everything I said, and then she advised me to not allow my emotions to overpower me. She said that a teacher can never be a lover, and that my emotions would only ruin the present. As months passed, my admiration for Emily remained steadfast. But I came to realize that it was more than just a romantic infatuation. I saw Emily as a mentor, guiding me not only academically, but also in understanding myself and the world around me. I cherished our intellectual connection and the safe space she provided for me to express my thoughts and dreams. I understood the importance of maintaining professional boundaries and respecting Emily's position as my teacher. I channeled my feelings into creative endeavors, pouring my emotions into my writing and using it as an outlet for my unrequited love. I strived to maintain a healthy perspective, reminding myself that my education and personal growth should remain my primary focus. In a cruel twist of fate, tragedy struck Emily's life. Her husband was arrested for an accident. She was in a turmoil. I wanted to safeguard her. She cried on my shoulders, and I felt her pain so much. I wanted to help her. So, I met my lawyer friend and asked her to help Emily. It took almost 6 months to set Robert free. After Robert was free from the case, he noticed me and Emily together. He began doubting that we were in relationship, and then Emily and Robert started fighting over it. I was so taken aback that I was the cause for their fight. I decided to meet Robert and make him understand that there was nothing what he thought. But Robert had his head high. He was furious. We met on an empty street and he began to scream. And then he punched me on my face. I was shocked. I tried to run, but again, Robert nabbed me and began to attack me. It was high time I acted. I pushed him so hard that his head hit a pole. His head was bleeding. I was terrified. I didn't know what I should do, so I eventually ran from the spot. I hid myself in my house. I was constantly getting a call from Emily, but I didn't know how I should tell her the truth. The whole night, I was struck. It was morning, and the cops were standing at my door. I was captured in the CCTV. Robert was dead due to overbleeding. I felt so guilty. I could have helped him if I would have taken him to the hospital. I was guilty because I thought I murdered him. In inquiry, I revealed everything that had happened. The cops also checked the CCTV, where they realized that what I was saying was the truth. I was sentenced to 6 months of prison. In prison, I dedicated myself to self-improvement, seeking therapy and trying to forgive myself for what I did. I never wanted to kill Robert, but what happened was not under my control. I wanted to make Emily's life better, but my actions made it worse. Over time, I found solace in accepting responsibility for my actions and working towards redemption, I recognized that my love for Emily had been tainted misplaced intentions. Through therapy and reflection, I learned to differentiate between admiration and need for emotional boundaries. 6 months later, I was released from prison. I am different now. 6 months before, I was a happy-go-lucky boy. I'm a person who was a cause for someone's death. All my innocence is lost. I want to meet Emily and ask for her forgiveness. But I know now, she doesn't even want to look at me. I do keep a watch on her. I see her going to college. But now, her smile is missing. I'd ruined everything. I hope one day everything would be fine again. If you like my story, do like, subscribe, and comment.
Hey, I am Rachel. You might be wondering why an old lady like me is talking to you. I am 60, but I was lively like you. I, too, had a love story. Let me tell you my love story. It all started that day. I leaned against the window of my small apartment, my gaze fixed on the bustling streets of New York City below. The honking of car horns and the chatter of passers-by filled the air, but I felt isolated in my thoughts. It was my first summer in the city, and I couldn't help but feel a pang of loneliness. As fate would have it, that connection came sooner than I expected. One sunny afternoon, while exploring Central Park, I found myself captivated by the sound of a guitar being strummed nearby. Curiosity propelled me towards the source, and then I discovered a young man, his fingers dancing effortlessly across the strings. His eyes were closed in concentration, and his tousled brown hair fell gracefully over his forehead. Mesmerized by his talent, I couldn't resist the urge to approach him. "That was beautiful," I said softly, catching his attention. The boy opened his eyes, a mix of surprise and delight crossing his face. "Thank you," he replied, a hint of smile tugging at his lips. "I'm Ethan." "I'm Rachel," I replied, extending my hand. He took it, and I felt a jolt of electricity pass between them. Ethan offered me a seat on the nearby bench, and then we started talking as if we had known each other for years. I discovered that he was a musician and had just moved to New York to pursue his dreams. He had an infectious passion for life, and his enthusiasm was contagious. I couldn't help but be drawn to him, feeling like I had found someone who understood me in ways I couldn't explain. Days turned into weeks, and me and Ethan spent every spare moment together, exploring the city's hidden gems and sharing our dreams and fears. We would wander through the streets of Greenwich Village, hand in hand, savoring the bohemian atmosphere and the buzz of artistic energy. We would lose themselves in the beauty of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, marveling at the masterpieces that surrounded us. With each passing day, our connection grew stronger, like two souls entwined in a dance of discovery. We shared our hopes and dreams, our fears and insecurities, creating a bond that surpassed our expectations. I found solace in Ethan's arms, and he found inspiration in my laughter and the way my eyes sparkled when he talked about my aspirations. One evening, as we sat on the rooftop of Ethan's apartment, the New York skyline stretching before us, I mustered the courage to confess my feelings. I turned to Ethan, my heart racing, and said, "I think I'm falling in love with you." Ethan's eyes searched mine, his expression a mixture of surprise and joy. "Rachel, I've been in love with you since the moment I saw you in Central Park. You've brought so much light into my life." Our lips met in a gentle kiss, sealing their newfound love. In that moment, the sounds of the city faded away, and we were the only two people in the world. Our love story continued to blossom as summer turned into fall. We navigated the challenges of their individual dreams while supporting each other in every step of the way. I pursued my passion for writing, while Ethan's music echoed through the streets of the city, touching the hearts of strangers. We celebrated our first anniversary by visiting the top of the Empire State Building, our love reaching new heights alongside the iconic structure. We shared heartfelt moments in Times Square on New Year's Eve, surrounded by the buzzing excitement and the electric energy of the crowd. Years later, we stood in Central Park, where our love story had begun. Ethan took my hand and got down on one knee. With tears of joy in his eyes, he asked, "Rachel, will you marry me?" Overwhelmed with emotion, I nodded vigorously, unable to find words to express my happiness. The city that had brought us together was now witness to their love, and we embarked on a new chapter of their lives, forever bound by the memories we had created in the heart of the New York City. Our wedding day arrived, filled with the magic of romance and the backdrop of the city that had witnessed our journey. We exchanged vows in a small chapel, surrounded by our closest friends and family. As I said, "I do." The sun sets over the Hudson River, casting a warm glow over the city's skyline. Together, I and Ethan built a life filled with love and adventure. We continued to explore the vibrant streets of New York, discovering new cafes, theaters, and parks. We shared midnight walks across the Brooklyn Bridge, holding hands and making wishes on the stars above. Our love story inspired others as my writing career flourished and Ethan's music reached new heights. We became a power couple in the city, using our talents to uplift and inspire others. We supported local artists, organized benefit concerts, and dedicated ourselves to giving back to the community that had embraced us. Throughout the years, we faced challenges and triumphs, but our love remained unshakable. We celebrated anniversaries with romantic dinners overlooking the city, took impromptu trips to Coney Island, and danced under the stars in Bryant Park during summer festivals. Our teenage romance had grown into a lifelong love story, and we knew that no matter where life took us, our love would always have its roots in the bustling streets and hidden corners of the city we had come to call home. Together, we wove our dreams into the fabric of New York, leaving an indelible mark on the city that had given us so much. And as we walked hand in hand, our love radiated, illuminating the city that had brought us together and would forever be our cherished sanctuary.